Hi everyone, and welcome back to From Pain Point to On Point. I'm Britt, your host, and with me today I have Sindre Haaland, the CEO of SalesScreen. We're here today in SalesScreen headquarters in Oslo, Norway for our annual kickoff, which is so exciting. Yeah. We're going to have a beautiful dinner on Friday, and we're going to have a lot of sessions on Thursday and Friday talking all about gamification and all of the fun new things that we're going to be bringing out to the platform this year. One of those things is going to be AI, some AI in our platform, which is really exciting. So we're going to talk today about AI. We're certainly not first on the AI train. It is predicted that over 70% of businesses will have integrated AI into their operations in 2025. So popping up everywhere. But I want to know how you see AI transforming gamification, specifically sales gamification, but you can just say gamification overall.
Now, to begin with, the reason why we haven't released an AI module before now is actually that we set a strategy all the way back in, I think it was Q4 2022, that we would jump on the AI train. And now it's like 2025, which is like insane.
But so fast.
Good things is worth waiting for. But the honest truth is that we needed to revamp how we were tracking data in the platform in order for large language models or like AI to be able to interpret and infer what is going on in the account, to give us real insights.
Yeah.
And that was a huge undertaking that took us quite a bit of time to do, but we knew it would be worth it because what we're coming out with now is going to be extremely valuable for our customers. So back to your original question, it's like, how will this impact gamification? Well, there's 3 layers to it. So first off, obviously with all AI, it really helps provide you with new insights instantaneously. And that's something that AI will definitely do for gamification platforms. We are tracking their sales activities, their outcomes, and AI can analyze that and tell you who's doing what, who needs a pat on the back, who needs some love and who needs a boot. It can also tell you what the good people are doing, and that could be really important to understand in order to coach the rest and how to get there. Like, there's so many insights that can be delivered to you in real time, so you can course correct in real time.
Yeah.
So insights is one of them. The second one is automation. So of course, AI is really exceptional at taking a lot of those repetitive and nitty-gritty tasks that people do and do it automatically. And that's no different for gamification either. You can really do some of those repetitive tasks and the changes that can now be done by an AI. For instance, you could have it set up a competition plan for you. So it could base that on predicted outcomes of which competition is actually going to drive the most results based on which activity, which it picks based on where you need more, based on your conversion rates. It takes all of this information. It even predicts where you're going to end up based on like the player types and individuals you have in team and what competitions you previously run. So it just becomes better and better. It can really automate that whole gamification implementation strategy for you inside the platform functionally, which is phenomenal. But there's also a third aspect, which I think is unique for gamification, which is like personalized gamification. So in gamification so far, you often have had to set the bar, and it's you create achievements if you do this many in one day or 1 week, you unlock something and you get celebrated. But the reality is what is good for one person is perhaps not really that good or great for another one. Like they have different levels. So being able to have targets that is adjusted automatically using AI based on previous performance and their own conversion rates can make those achievements and those game elements really stand out at different levels for different individuals. It becomes equally hard for them basically to unlock them. So that the achievement makes equally much sense and has a same sense of accomplishment, but it can drive the same type of behavior for a new employee as a senior one. So like personalized gamification is something that's brand new and that's coming with AI as well. So there's many levels. Of course, you also have, like, let's say, implementation of ChatGPT to gain titles in an achievement or a competition.
That's a throwaway.
But that's not real AI.
That's...
What we're talking about here is like real impact on a day-to-day for managers and individuals as both.
Yeah, absolutely. What inspired in implementing AI into our platform? Was it just the insights portion? Was it the personalization? I mean, personalization is so important to us.
Yeah.
That's such a big talking point for us, as our listeners know, because we've been talking about the Bartle player types for a couple of weeks now. But what kind of inspired implementing AI into the SalesScreen platform?
I think that we recognize that the SalesScreen gamified environment has a tremendous impact when it's a part of the culture and when people play with it.
Yeah.
In a way, like, you keep it fresh, you add new competitions, you change up the targets, the achievements, you build out a couple of new dashboards, you keep it top of mind. But that takes time. And it's a bit of tedious work. Sometimes you need to do analysis to figure out these new targets, and you need to set it up, and you need to update so many places. And like, at some point you're like, I don't have time for that. And the environment could, in a way, risk of growing stale. So having AI to be able to do that for you automatically, to keep it fresh, keep it top of mind, keep it exciting, and serve you, be your best friend, to give you those insights on a silver platter. Like, oh no, Bob and Harry is performing much lower than they used to. Like, you should go talk to them and see what's going on. Or like, Alice is outperforming. She's never had such a good day before. Maybe you should give her an endorsement. Or to take some of that labor away from busy frontline managers who are super busy, and just give them that automatically. That's super exciting, and that can drive performance on a whole new level.
Yeah, completely. The insights are really cool. We have our insights in a preliminary beta right now, and what it's able to do based off of all of the performance data in the platform and the tasks that it can suggest is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
It's very cool. And so to that end, how do we feel like AI enhances the gamification experience? We know that it's going to enhance the experience for managers because, like you said, it's going to be taking that admin overhead off of them a little bit, but also for the individual reps that are going to be using it.
Yeah, there's so many examples of it. So for instance, like, if you're a big sales team, we always like to run, for instance, sales competitions that are driving a big percentage of the team as possible. If you do it on whoever can book the most revenue or meetings or whatever, it's the same 10 or 20% who's going to be motivated by that. It's typically your killers. But if you do it on your target completion, then you're pretty much balancing it out. You make it fair, more people get excited. But what if you asked AI to build a competition based on their average performance the last 6 weeks, and then add 20%, because that's the stretch we want to see everyone do. And then suddenly you have a custom target just for this competition type with a 20% stretch on their average performance the last 6 weeks. Like, doing something like that is a lot of work without AI. With AI, it takes 2 seconds. And then suddenly you have a competition that really motivates everyone, not only on an individual level, it's like race yourself in Mario Kart and add some, but then also across other people on fair basis. So like, it unlocks so many new ways to create fair and really motivating competitions and game elements that raises the performance on everyone and not just a few, without the overhead and the ton of work needed to get there.
Yeah, because it would be a ton of work to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And in this case, it takes you 2 seconds. Like, it's fantastic. And as we talked about as well with the personalized gamification, which I think is definitely impossible without an AI engine, right? So you need to have something that really looks at everything and interferes, like, oh, you're not actually going to hit your target if you continue at this rate.
Yeah.
Give them that notification, show them what you need to do, put them on a mission to get to that number, which is also a game element that we're launching very soon. But like,
you're giving away all the goods, Sindre.
It's all bundled in here to really drive that next level of sales performance.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a good way to, I think that what we see a lot is a one-size-fits-all target or goal or
All the time.
management style or whatever. It's just everything. It's the same for everybody. And I think that something that we really believe in and that we really hold dear and that we really try to stress the importance of in everything that we do is that not everybody works the same way, and that's really okay. Like, it's okay that not everybody works the same way because, you know, a well-balanced sales team will have killers, they will have achievers, they will have socializers, and they'll have explorers, and everybody contributes to that in the way that suits their style. And all of that is meaningful and all of that is impactful. And I think it's very cool to see sales world evolve. I think that, at least for me, I grew up believing sales was like Glengarry Glen Ross, like no coffee. Coffee is for closers.
Give me the good leads.
Yeah, like that, like trying to get the knife set. I think what we think of when we think of sales and what we know of sales is that sales is so human. It's such a relationship-driven job, and that goes beyond the sales rep and the customer. That also goes backwards from the sales rep to the manager. And I think implementing AI into our platform and creating personalized gamification and being able to provide that for sales managers is such a great way of just continuing this sales evolution of making sure that sales stays a really human career path.
It sure is. And I think a great example of that is if you're a software company, you might have a team that is tasked to generate pipeline. And nowadays, there are a lot of softwares that's coming out claiming that they can do that better, pretty much automated. But the reality is that it just instantly becomes noise. Because sales isn't only a numbers game, it is a human game. So if you think that the path to goal is just to do more emails and more this and that, that's not necessarily true. I think the winners are the ones who's going to realize that there is a human being on the other side that's actually taking out their valuable time to speak to you and engage with you. And they're not going to do that based on anything. They will definitely see that it's AI writing it at some level, and they're going to award the one who stand out. So then you're starting to get back to a world where you need to motivate the team not to do most of the activity, but do most creative activity to stand out of the crowd and perhaps do something which is more personalized or more in person. Maybe you have to go meet up with fruit baskets and do 50 of those. And that's something you start to do and motivate them towards, like standing out. And so it is human. It always is going to be human. And I don't think we can replace the human in sales. That's how it is. But I think it's going to be harder to stand out. It's going to be tough.
Yeah. Well, I think that you're right, because all of the trends swing one way too far and then they swing back another way. And so we're going into a world of AI, we're going into a world of automated emails, and it's going to be noise. And people are going to start to really be able to pick up when something has been written by AI and it hasn't been written by a real person. And they're going to dismiss it. And so then we're going to swing back the other way of like old school selling. We're going to the office. We're walking into your office with donuts and like seeing who wants to talk.
I'm 100% sure that if you did that on scale today, you would have a standout conversion rates, honestly.
It's a lot of donuts.
But it's so few that does it anymore. Like in some way, the pandemic first and then this AI wave, like that's a double whammy on that type of behavior. It's just so few doing it.
Yeah, it's so true. Like having everybody be isolated and working from home and not being out in an office. And then now everything can't be automated. It's like we're really disconnecting from each other. And I think we want to connect with each other.
The winners are the one daring to connect.
Yeah.
And that realizes that is actually a superpower these days.
Yeah, being able to really understand your customer. And I think it's our CSMs that remember their customers' kids' birthdays, or their kid has a soccer game that weekend and ask them how it is. Like those things. Or I think about the time that Sandy did his napkin campaign where he was writing notes on napkins and sending them to all of his prospects. And how impactful that really is, making sure that you really are developing something real with the person that you're talking to, because it's a sensitive thing, asking for money, trying to sell something to somebody.
Yeah, it's the ultimate ask really. Yeah, it's absolutely relationship driven. We always said that sales is human to human.
Yeah.
I think that's just increasingly important to remind people of these days. And I'm definitely a big believer that's going to stay human to human forever, honestly.
Yeah, I don't ever imagine like robots taking over the role of sales. That seems...
As buyers, you're going to have a procurement team that is all AI, and that there's an AI pitching you something that your company suddenly bought because the AI decided to.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I'm laughing of it now, maybe it could happen, but at the same time, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, if it happens, it'll only happen for a short while, and then it's going to go horribly wrong.
Yeah, then the AI buys like a lot, and the owners get pissed, and it never happens again. You could try.
So to that end, how do we ensure that AI is something that empowers sales managers and empowers sellers and doesn't eat away at the humanity of it?
Yeah, I think it's back to insights and automation.
Yeah.
I think that's a really important part of it. It's like, sure, there's quite a lot of heavy lifting and tedious tasks that you have to do in the world of sales, and especially as a sales manager. And the more you can replace that dead time by having an AI do it for you, the more time you can spend with humans to build relationship and stand out of the crowd. So I would say that AI can definitely help you free up time to focus more on that instead.
Yeah, I think optimizing process and not people necessarily.
It's increasing productivity. Like, it's fantastic that you can have call recording and transcription and insights then being distilled into the correct medpic fields inside your CRM, and you don't have to do it anymore. Like, fantastic. I love AI. It's going to help make us so much more productive. It's going to take so much of that really boring, tedious work away from us. So we love AI for that. But trying to replace the human in it completely, I think that's lofty. I think it very quickly becomes noise. And then you're back to needing the humans to stand out again. And that part is what AI is always going to struggle with, is the creativity.
Yeah.
Except for their funny hallucinations. But like, the point is, they really struggle with that, right? To stand out.
Yeah.
That's not how it's built. The whole model is built on averages across millions of data points. So if you want a very average something, AI is great.
Yeah, AI is your guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. All right, let's talk a little bit about AI in SalesScreen, some of the things that we've got coming out. What can SalesScreen customers and future SalesScreen customers look forward to in 2025?
Oh, quite a bit. I think we already touched upon it, but there's some killer features that's coming out in 2025 for all of our clients to test out. One of my favorites, perhaps, is around insights. So being able to actually gain valuable insights in real time from the AI, telling you how your team is doing, who's having a standout day, who's struggling and needs some coaching or love and attention. If you continue doing this on the same path, you're not going to hit your goal. Here's 3 concrete things you can do right now that will help you get back again. And it will curate game elements like creating a competition or putting extra visualization or extra incentives around certain parts of your sales process that is needed to get back again to goal. Like, it can really help you and be your coach as a manager to hit your targets and get to that level. So I think that's super exciting. It's what we see the best SalesScreen admins do today, but it takes quite a bit of time for them, and it's something we see so many admins not doing at all. And for them, it's going to be revolutionary, right? So I think that insight part, and taking the insight and actually providing you not only with the insight, but concrete actions that you can do in the platform to get back and hit your goal, is super powerful. And the second thing, of course, is the automation. I think that, not that it takes quite a bit of time running or setting up a competition, but it takes a bit of creativity that sometimes you might be struggling with, right?
Although, I don't know, the release of our new forms, I really ride so hard for the new forms, even though they're not the sexiest release we've ever had. I think they're the sexiest release we've ever had.
Yeah, that was my point as well. Like, the suggestions there.
Yeah.
They're amazing. So like, you get curated, timely, based on timed events. Like, if there's a Super Bowl, you're going to get a team-based suggestion around that. But not only that, it's going to give you the means to run a competition based on data and put that in as a custom target in the actual competition. And it just all fits, it all makes sense. It's going to give you a fun name. It's going to give you a great picture. It's all curated for you. Of course, you can change it, but like it takes the thought work away.
Yeah.
It makes it so much simpler to run incentives, to do this at scale and with much more people as a single manager. So I think that's quite exciting. Now there's quite a lot. I think that the insights on the individuals, you can go into the player profiles and you will get like a description of how your peers see you, like how they talk about you through the lens of endorsements. That is kind of funny, right? So the AI actually wraps up like a summary of how you're being perceived in an organization, which I think is often very spot on. So that's fun.
That is fun.
And what else? Is quite a bit coming in 2025.
Yeah, we have a lot coming out in 2025.
Yeah.
It's a little...
I think that the personalized gamification is something that I'm quite excited about. The fact that you can have targets on metrics, but that isn't necessarily set manually, but it's set by an AI so that you constantly raises the bar and it becomes like individualized so that you have game elements like achievements that is like equally hard for everyone to reach. That means when you actually done that, it means a lot for everyone and they know how much it means.
Yeah.
It's personalized for them, right? I think these things are super impactful. It's just going to help drive that next level of performance.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the other thing that's really cool is how the more you're using it, the more that you're looking at insights, and obviously the longer that you've been in the platform and you have the data, the better and more honed those insights are going to be. And I think too, having an understanding of like how the team dynamic works, it's not just performance data that SalesScreen is tracking and using, it's also interactions and engagements and things going on in the competition chat and that type of stuff too. It's just really cool to think about the way that those insights can iterate and become more specific and smarter and, to your point, personalized to the individual. I really feel the insights that we see today is going to be kind of like almost night and day different from the insights that we see in December of this year, because I think it's going to be so much better.
Yeah, and we can just automate our best practices. That's the part that I love. Like we always advise our customers to, for instance, run different types of competition.
Yeah,
they often
absolutely.
get stuck in like one way, and the AI here is going to suggest that to you, so you get that natural different types of competition into play. And of course, as you say, it's going to learn from it. So if it suggests a new type of competition, let's say gift swap competition, which is great, and then it adds some parameters that you may not even know existed, so that you can earn multiple gifts and whatever. But like once that is run, it knows what's the impact on the individuals in that competition. Like how much did they actually increase? Was it better than those other standard competition? If that's the case, when you want to run something for them again, they know this actually had a bigger impact. So it's going to put that up and elevate that as a suggestion the next time around. So the more you use it, like the better it will become at learning your people and what actually drives them, and can give you really good suggestions on games and competitions to play that's going to have the highest impact on the team. And it's all done automatically. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And you're talking about the insight. I'm CEO, and obviously I might have a different lens on insight sometime. And that's one part that I'm pretty excited by, is the fact that you have your key metrics, you have your teams, the organization structure and the hierarchy and all how it's connected. And that allows us to give those insight reports on a more human level, like that executive summary, right? So I can get that executive summary every week. And I just see who had standout performance, how did we do, where did we kind of fall short. I get that summary every week from the system, which is great as well.
And context too, I think, is also important, because I think sometimes we miss it. I think sometimes we miss context, where it could be John had the worst week ever last week, but John was on vacation. I just wanted to make a quick point on the competition aspect, which is you could very well, in the inverse, we have a lot of competitions in SalesScreen, and some of them are just like your standard competitions. We got to get to the goal, right? But some of them, like Gift Swap, are fun competitions that can be very
phenomenal.
Yeah, very engaging. And so having a competition where maybe it didn't have the highest outcome. Maybe you didn't hit your target, or maybe this wasn't the most successful competition you've ever run, but the engagement was super, super high. So then that's just more information as a manager where you could be like, well, maybe I'm not going to use the gift swap for end of quarter. We've got 3 days left to hit goal. This is the competition I'm going to run. I'm going to do our tried and true, but I'll use this for when people are in the middle of a slump. It's the summer slump. Let's boost more engagement, get more people in the platform and activated and having fun. So I think it's cool the way that you can really use AI and the AI insights to not just give you performance data and how do you get the best performance out of people, but also just engagement data and behavior data and getting to know your people and really understanding how your people work.
It opens up for so many things, right? And one part that I'm actually the most excited about, and the reason why we opted to give it away to everyone for free to test it for a while.
Yeah, for beta testing.
is to see what they want out of it. Mm-hmm. We are also giving them the possibility to engage with our AI directly to prompts. Mm-hmm. What is the types of questions that they're asking? What is it that they want it to do? If they try something and it doesn't deliver, we might be able to build that feature in. But once we have so many people trying to do certain things, we will see those patterns and we will get that feedback from them in customer calls, on chat support and intercom support. Mm-hmm. And we will learn what is the next iteration and evolution of AI in SalesScreen. Yeah. So as a product guy, that's something that excites me quite a bit, because that could really drive even next year's roadmap, right? Mm-hmm. By just seeing that at mass, what are people excited by? What are they trying to do?
Yeah.
Can we do that?
Yeah, you're so right. And I can't believe I never even thought about it, but it is such a great way to crowdsource what customers want and what they're looking for. Yeah. I think a lot of times you get into, especially this happens with salespeople all the time, but you get into calls with customers and maybe they'll have some specific feedback for you, but usually it is whatever the issue is at that moment, right? Like, I can't figure out how to do this thing and this is my biggest issue. And so having information about what it is that they're trying to do on a day-to-day gives that full picture.
And that's also a very powerful thing that we are releasing in 2025 is that chat prompt, right? So you're actually able to have a conversation. It's so insane. Like, we're doing these things now, right? But like, you're having a conversation with the SalesScreen AI about your numbers. Like, it could be casual, like, how did we do this week? And it's going to give you an answer. It's like, okay, what could we have done better? Like, who were the stand-up performers? Who was in a slump? You can just have that conversation with the AI, and it's going to look at the data. It's going to give you those answers. And you're going to like, oh, shit, okay, I need to focus on this. Could you create that dashboard for me? Could you also set up a couple of competitions, one next week, one the week after? And it creates those incentives. It gives you the insights to share with your executive and through a dashboard lens. You could have it come up with an endorsement for that stand-up performer, post a summary of this into the feed and format it in a nice way. It's crazy all the things you can do.
Yeah, it's limitless.
Yeah,
which is kind of crazy.
It's kind of insane, right?
It is insane.
So I'm really looking forward to see what our clients and customers are actually going to do and which use cases it unlocks that we haven't even thought about.
Yeah. Now I'm going to be a little bit of a buzzkill.
Sure.
So in regards to the ethical usage around AI, how do we at SalesScreen, how are we going to ensure that AI is being implemented as ethically as possible? But then also as a secondary follow-up to that, how are we ensuring that we are maintaining privacy regulations for our customers? Because that is something that we at SalesScreen take very seriously. We deal with a lot of data, we deal with a lot of sensitive data. Mm-hmm. How do we ensure that we're keeping the lid on that?
Yeah, it's great questions and definitely top of mind. In any platform shift, there's going to be an early time where things aren't really efficient. So if you're thinking about ethical ramifications of it consuming quite a bit of power, for instance, and those kind of things, like, it's just going to be better and better. And we are obviously going to observe as well, like, usage and how much of this is actually can we help optimize and make sure that it isn't too costly. that we just ramp up the resources on the data centers. We will try to optimize it as much as possible. But more so, I would say this is something that the real suppliers of these large language models, who is training them on the billions of data sets. And then, of course, I'm talking about the Microsoft, the OpenAI, Anthropic, and with Claude, and all of these AI models. Like, this is top of mind for them. And we don't create our own LLM. We, of course, leverage one of the bigger ones as partners. In this case, I believe it's right now we're leaning heavily on Microsoft, which we've partnered with and worked with for many years. And for them, this has always been top of mind and very important. And one of the reasons we went with them is also their enterprise mindset. So like privacy is definitely top of mind there. And also built into our DNA as a European company. We were early with GDPR compliancy and privacy, and every customer has a data processing agreement that kind of outlines what is it that we can do and can't. And let's face it, it's the clients who own the data. So the AI is going to process it locally. It's not going to share it. It's not going to be trained on it per se, so that it's something that goes outside of the SalesScreen bubble, and suddenly you can ask someone, what is the sales of this company? And because they have AI in SalesScreen, they know that's not how it works. It's kind of like isolated, and it's made so that you gain the benefit of it being trained on billions of data sets, and it can interpret what you have locally, but that local knowledge is not being looped back into the main model. It sticks with us and it sticks with the client. So from the client perspective, there isn't really any privacy concerns they should be scared of. From the ethical part, I have to defer a bit to Microsoft because they have a bigger say in this, and we will do our part by optimizing the code and being able to run it as efficiently as possible.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it evolves. And like I said, I think that as exciting as AI is, and it really changes the landscape in a drastic way, there are definitely concerns. And I think that an ethical company, which I believe that we are, is paying attention to those concerns. All right, let me think, because we've answered a lot of questions that I have on my list just in our yapping, because we love to yap, Sindre. What trends do you see emerging around gamification as AI develops?
Yeah, there's definitely the trends of more and more automation is something that is relevant for us. I think that insights and automation is not unique to the SalesScreen AI. That's a general trend that we are leveraging. I think what's more unique that I don't know anyone else has necessarily jumped on already, but they sure will after this podcast, is the personalized gamification. So the fact that you can actually leverage AI to personalize the game elements, to make it fair, to make it equally as impactful for each of them. I think that is something that is definitely coming to the rest of the gamification scene, like way outside of sales. I sure hope so. But I would assume that you're going to see similar trends in Duolingo or piano playing apps or whatever, gamification apps, that they will try to make that journey more personal and based on your skill level, and instead of just benchmarks of everyone.
Yeah, of everyone.
So that's a major trend, like personalized gamification. So I think that's one's coming on a longer term.
Yeah, I totally agree. All right. I feel like I have my last question here because I do feel as if we've answered a lot of what I have here. So this is the last question of our AI podcast. Is there anything that you want to say before I ask you the last question? All right. If we look ahead 5 years, what do you think the role of AI will be in shaping sales team dynamics?
Yeah, it's a very well formulated question. I think that if we look at AI in 5-year terms, that is a long time.
It's a long time. That's 500 years in AI time.
In the world that we're living in right now, with exponentials all around us, 5 years is a very long time. But I think that obviously, as we've talked about earlier in our conversations, sales is always going to be human. What I think AI is going to contribute with is that you're not going to spend time on repetitive, tedious tasks that an AI could replace. What it makes you stand out as a sales rep is your human qualities that's really hard for an AI to replicate. I'm talking about standing out, being creative, and thinking outside of the box, and like doing something that the world hasn't seen before, because that is going to create results. So you're not going to waste time anymore. You're actually going to do your best work thinking creatively and leveraging your human skill set to build strong relationships, to stand out and get that connection that we're talking about. So I think AI is going to be great. It's going to make us much, much more productive. It's going to make us love work even more, because that's our mission, is to make work more fun and engaging, and doing repetitive, tedious work isn't. AI can do that for you. You can do the fun stuff, right? So I'm excited for the future. I think it's going to be not as scary as many people think it will be. I think we've seen an amazing progress with the AI models, but I think they kind of hit a ceiling right now, because they have been trained on all human available data already. So what is going to drive the next level of, let's say, intelligence in the AI models, I'm not sure. But I think that what it has come with in terms of automation and insights and new abilities to run things in real time that previously would require software or hundreds of people and man hours to do, that is opening so many doors. So it's an exciting future.
Yeah. You bring up a really good point of like AI is an amalgamation of everything that's already existed before us, right? It's everything that's already happened. And it can learn. And I think especially now after we've had like the chat GPTs in the world and we've got AI out there now, I think the computers becoming sentient is less likely. It doesn't feel as scary of a possibility anymore.
I agree on that.
Which is nice. I feel like I sleep easier at night knowing that my computer's not going to like get up and walk away. So yeah, I do question like how do we push past where we're already at, where it's cannibalized all of past history and everything that we've done. How do we move forward, and where does it go, and what's the next step? And yeah, I'm also interested to know what that looks like.
If you have the answer to that, you should start a business and make $1 billion, right? But
Get the freaking patent, man.
In a way, you can talk about it more on a philosophical scale, and that is, it was able to ramp up very quickly because we had so much knowledge accumulated and available. For instance, like for developers, you had this website called Stack Overflow, where developers went in and asked questions, and then others came in and provided answers, and that was gamified, so people got upvotes and they got badges and points, and it became this whole thing where people really helped each other, and they loved looking for answers, questions they could answer, and gain those points through the gamification journey, stand out. The usage of this website has dropped like a stone, right? People are now asking an AI instead. The problem, though, is if none of those questions are being posted on an online available forum, what is the AI going to train on next? It's not going to get the data because everyone is working in isolated silos. With the AI, they don't want to share it with the rest and their peers. So that's going to be a real issue for AI models to gain that new level of knowledge once that isn't available anymore. So you kind of like plateau. And then you're back again to the humans having to be creative and exceptional to push past what AI, the average of everyone, is capable of giving you. So there's going to be many opportunities for exceptional individuals to do even better in a world where everything is like condensed down to an average.
Yeah. Well, it just all goes back is that sales is human, right? Like we're never going to get rid of humanity, and our computer overlords may try, but you're never going to get rid of like human to human relationships. And I think that's a really nice way to end this podcast.
Yeah, I agree. It's a small fun fact is actually that in SalesScreen, both my co-founders and I, we were actually studying AI at university.
Yeah, that's right. I was going to ask you about that earlier, and then I was like, do you want to do the whole like my background is in AI? And I'm like,
it's funny because this was long before any large language models and what we kind of like look at as AI
really
today,
old.
right? We are really old. But yeah, Øystein, Mars, they both have master's degrees in AI. I also took AI until I went over to economic and business. But the point is like, what we have learned there is that AI was really hot, like in the 60s, and we have so many algorithms that we've created and so much knowledge around AI and neural networks and everything, and what is like I call actual AI, and that it was just too early because we didn't have the computational power, the data points, the big data points to actually create real meaningful AI algorithms and models like we have done today. So it's really fun for us to see that it's now mainstream, what we have been geeking out on for so long. And it was no question that SalesScreen would, of course, implement AI in the product and as a part of our strategy, but we wanted to do it properly, and then we needed to change the fundamentals, which we have.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an exciting time, I believe. It's really exciting that we're finally there. And it unlocks quite a lot of possibilities for the next 5 years. So I'm excited.
I'm excited too. And also just like the fact that this conversation has been happening since the 60s. Shout out Alan Turing. And even 10 years ago when you guys were in university and studying this, how quickly AI has evolved from going from the 60s to what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? I don't even remember when ChatGPT or OpenAI came out, but it's been kind of no real progress. And then all of a sudden, within just a few short years, we've already plateaued. We've already plateaued with AI. It's pretty crazy.
We'll see if we plateau it or not. But the point, there's breakthroughs in hardware side as well, right? So we have quantum computing now that was able to process problems that would take our computers millions of years to do in seconds.
Yes, it does.
And obviously with the data sets and the algorithms and the AI today and that type of brain power, you could theoretically open the door to even new possibilities. So the fair of the sentence isn't over just yet. There's lots happening, but I think that
I thought we were safe, Sindre.
from this technology that we're talking about, it kind of hit a plateau.
Yeah.
For sure.
Very, very cool. Well, this was awesome. I love chatting AI with you. And thank you for joining me.
It's awesome as well.
My podcast.
Well, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Sindre. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening or watching. Please like and subscribe, and we will be back in 2 weeks.